do your due diligence. Just because they have my book does not mean that I know who they are. Do not trust. Everybody can say, oh, I know her. Well, of course you know me. You know me from a podcast. You know me from YouTube. You know me from what? I'm everywhere. So yes, you know me. You know who I am, but you don't know me. There's a big difference. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. All right, today, I am back from vacation. Oh my gosh, last week I was on vacation and, you don't really take time off, but I was off for a couple of days. We went to the Lead Lodge in Nebraska City. I don't know if I told you guys where I was going. Probably not. So we were in Nebraska City, Nebraska at the Lead Lodge. It is an Arbor Day farm. It is just so peaceful there. And of course, I wanted to go kind of during the middle of the week when nobody was there. And thank goodness, because on Friday, we left Saturday morning, and on Friday, people were rolling in like crazy. There must have been a wedding or something. I don't know, but we didn't stick around to find out. And then we drove over to Lincoln. Here was the fun part about this is my husband, I just drug him along. Like, this is not up his alley. Like, he loves looking at the trees and the farm stuff. And, he tolerated me. Let's just put it that way. But this is the part this is where I thought it was going to be relaxing. And this is why it wasn't relaxing, because my entrepreneur brain was on overload. And I was like, oh my gosh, we could do this with our land, and we could do this with our land. And oh, don't you just love all these walking paths? And we don't have anything like this in North Dakota. And this is just so fantastic. Like, you could just sit out here. They have multiple fire pits. They have all these apple trees. And then you get to see there's deer. There's just wooded area. There's this huge tree house thing, places for kids to play all day. Your kids should never have to be behind their screen if you go to this joint. It is just awesome. And so, but my brain, we got home and I was like, you know what? I just now have a whole lot of ideas. And this ended up to not be a downtime for me. It ended up for me just to start more businesses, which happens on the regular if I have too many days off. But anyway, so we were on vacation and it was a grand time. All right, so let's talk about, who do you trust when you see my book? This is something that has gotten a little bit out of control. And so let's just nip this stuff in the butt right now. If you get handed my book from another agent and that agent says they know me, that is BS. Okay. So right now, as it stands, as of November 2024, many of you may know I have John Hashey that works with me, and John was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. We love the John. And so John is trained and amazing. I have a couple of other agents that are working with me. Shannon is in Idaho. And Shannon gives the book out here and there. She's not really farm related. Okay, she might know a farmer here and there, not really farm related. Morgan in Texas. He knows farmers because he farms. So Morgan in Texas. If you get a book from Morgan in Texas, you're okay. If you get a book from Teresa, if you get a book from Mark in Wisconsin. And so there are just a handful of agents that I am working with at this particular time. If you are getting a book from somebody outside of that, if you are getting a book from somebody that works with New York Life, Guardian, maybe Northwest Mutual, I don't know those people. I don't know them. They don't know me. And so when I hear this kind of stuff, it drives me insane. Even if they are an authorized practitioner and they're like, oh yeah, I know Mary Jo. There's a lot of people that know me, but I don't know them. And so do not correlate me with them. Do not go, oh, they know Mary Jo, so they must know what they're doing. No, no, no. This is exactly why we have the Nelson Nash Institute. This is exactly why we have authorized practitioners, because people were taking Nelson's book and they blew it up into something that it should not be. It should not be universal life. You don't buy coffee by borrowing cash value, okay? This is ridiculous when people are trying to tout these things. And so just because they say that they know me does not mean anything. What has happened with Nelson's book is happening with my book. There are people buying my books from me, which I cannot stop. Okay. If I said, you know what, you are an agent, you can't buy a book, guess what they do? They go and have Uncle Susie or Uncle Sam order the books for them. And then they get the books no matter what, and they redistribute them. And what they're doing is they also put stickers over the information within the book to, hey, call Mary Jo. Hey, schedule an appointment with Mary Jo. Okay. You guys Google me, you can find me. But do not associate me with anybody that does not work for my office. If they are not a John, a Morgan, a Shannon, a Teresa, or a Mark, they don't work with me. I am uber picky about who I even allow work with me. They have to go through a massive training program. John and Teresa are the only two at this time that I feel trained enough to say, yep, you can meet with them one-on-one. We're good to go. The other ones are still in training, people. You're not going to just willy-nilly have a meeting with somebody and not go through a training program. So if you are getting Farming Without the Bank, and it is somebody that is in a farm community, it is an agent that lives in a farm community, and they are saying, oh, look at me. I know Mary Jo, or I'm going to use this book to sell insurance. I'm not endorsing that person. Not endorsing that person. If you want to know if I know them, all you got to do is email me, maryjo@withoutthebank.com. Email me and I will email you back and say, yep, I know that person, or no, I don't. If I have never spoke to them, if I have never met them, you are going to know that, because I am not going to tell you, oh yeah, that's all good. They bought my book. I'm sure you can trust them. No, because what's happening is people are using my book. They're going out and selling a policy, and then I'm seeing the policy and I'm like, that is not correct. Did they talk to you about how much premium you want to pay? Did they talk to you about what your aspirations are in life? What you want to do? What we want to build? Do we want to build a farm? Do we want to build a business? Are we inheriting something? Did they have any of those conversations with you? Because if they didn't, they're not doing what they need to be doing for you. If they are not bringing BYOB into the equation, here's something that I find interesting, is these agents will reach out to me and say, oh, Mary Jo, I want to work with you. And then I will say, well, have you read Nelson's book? And they will reply back to me and say, I don't know who Nelson is. Who are you talking about? Who am I talking about? I am talking about the same person I talked about in my book, the gentleman that created the infinite banking concept, the man that came up with the plan. You don't know who that is, but you want to teach the infinite banking concept? You haven't even done your due diligence. I had, which I am assuming is a very nice person, reach out to me and say, hey, Mary Jo, I would love to get together with you, even if I have to come to Nebraska. And I was like, Nebraska, why are we going to Nebraska? I live in North Dakota. Why are we going to Nebraska? If you want to be an agent and you don't even know what state I live in, you don't know who Nelson Nash is, you don't know what becoming your own banker is, you haven't done your due diligence, but you want to be an agent, I don't even respond to those people. Do not respond. Because all we're looking for is to say, hey, you know what? I want to make some commission. That's how I feel. There are better ways to address me and to visit with me about it. And so what's happening is these people are buying a book and they're seeing commission dollar signs. And they're taking advantage of you, the person out there wanting to learn about it, but they're not learning about it themselves. And so do your due diligence. Just because they have my book does not mean that I know who they are. Do not trust everybody can say, oh, I know her. Well, of course you know me. You know me from a podcast. You know me from YouTube. You know me from what? I'm everywhere. So yes, you know me. You know who I am, but you don't know me. There's a big difference. And I endorse people that don't work with me. If you want to do business with James Nethery, James knows what he's doing. I love James. We're good friends. Fantastic. Go ahead. Go do business with James Nethery. But there are people that I don't know that are saying, hey, you know what? I know her. And I have her book. Yeah, anybody can buy my book, my friends. Anybody. But not everybody understands how to teach the concept. If you have somebody that you've gotten the book from, you want to know if they're setting your policy up right, send me the illustration. I'll look at it. I see those all the time. They're never right. I'll look at it. If you have questions about, do I actually know this person? I will respond back to you and let you know if I actually know that person. But just because you have my book, do not trust or assume that I know who that person is and that I am vouching for them because they are giving you my book. All right. Today was just kind of a warning. However, you should go over to Without the Bank and listen to that podcast because I talk about another 5 reasons why people are hung up on not trusting infinite banking. And so 1 through 10 over there. Last week was 1 through 5. This week is 6 through 10. So go over there. But thank you for listening to my TED Talk today. Let me know if you guys need anything. Mary Jo at Without the Bank, get your Farming Without the Bank book and Nelson's book. Read both of them. Schedule your appointment. Happy to visit with you. And you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com, and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.